from there is when we can learn together. And also laying the groundwork for future teacher-led professional development, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, where this time that we spent together today doesn't just leave off when the kids come to class again tomorrow, but that we can keep it going for months and years to come and keep connecting across our vertical team. So first I want to thank we had 41 presenters presenting today. If we can just give our presenters a round of applause. Some of our presenters had presented before and others hadn't. And what I'd like to say is that a lot of them said, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" As teachers, we sometimes don't believe that we have an audience for what we're doing in our classrooms, but every single person in this room, I hope you'll consider yourself as somebody who might come back and present and share what you're doing. Even if it's something you didn't feel like went well at all, but we've learned from that, and that conversation that you can have with your peers is something that can help us to all learn together and keep thinking about what we're going to do next. So if we could just turn and talk with a shoulder partner about one thing that you're taking away from you today. Go ahead and talk to somebody next to you. What are you taking with you today?
I think it was a great experience.
I know, put you on the spot. Thank you.
I think that it was a great experience. We got to see how many teachers are doing wonderful things, and all the ideas that we got from today are things that we can do in our classroom. And these teachers that we observed today were being flexible, being creative, and incorporating a lot of different resources into their classroom. So it was wonderful to see them and very motivating. So thank you for everything together.
Thank you. Do we have 2 more comments that we could reflect on? Am I taking the mic?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
I just felt like it was a very fun experience, especially. I thought it was a very fun experience. It was especially important, or I felt important to have this right before the beginning of the new semester. And it was just a very timely. And we need more days like this.
Thank you.
I also want to add that, like, what we take away is a choice. Because oftentimes in the past, like, I've walked away from certain PDs and I'm like, man, like this. And it's just like I go into that negative space of being critical about this experience. But I think like all the positive things that I can get are a choice that I'm making to take those things away.
Thank you. Well, I hope that also having choice at it helped you to make the choice then to take positive things away from you today. I think we could probably do this session exactly the same next year, and people would still have new things that they could choose from. We had so many options. So before we go, I just want to say a little bit about where this came from, this conference came from. A lot of you have heard this before, but I'm a parent and a teacher in this Travis Vertical team, and in January of 2017, a group of us started coming together monthly in the library in the Travis High School. And we came together to start sharing what are our strengths across schools. I think almost everyone in here can relate to being at a school that's all of a sudden on a potential closure list. I know at least 5, I think, in our vertical team that have been there at some point in time. And we find that there are times when we start feeling like we're competing against each other for students. And we thought about what if we came together and we shared our strengths? What if we started saying, what are you doing at your school? What are you doing at your school? Because together we're stronger than when we're feeling pitted against each other, or then when we're feeling siloed or isolated. And so when we started coming together, we started talking about what are strengths that we have, how can we share them more? And that's where the idea for this conference came. So when I came to work at Lively, I talked to Dr. Lapine and to Ms. Holliday about the idea of having a conference for our vertical team, and it's just grown from there. Last year we had 150 people register. This year there was 315 people register for the conference. And we hope that it'll continue to be something that we do annually. There is a link that you can check out later to the blog for Nuestras Escuelas and to our website there. We also have a Facebook group that you could join. We haven't been meeting monthly, but this has been really our main event now. And we'd love for everybody to be as engaged as they want to be in thinking toward what this might look like next year. So the last thing we're going to talk about is your takeaway, because you're going to be getting a little takeaway with you when you walk out that we've printed for everybody. But it's important that I talk first about what it is and why. I think Dr. Luis Urrieta really stirred the pot this morning, right, with really speaking truth to power, and we're going to end on that note as well. I was in a colleague's room the other day. She actually used to be on our vertical team, and she presented at this conference last year. And I've taught about social justice in my classroom for years now, but I hadn't heard of the 6 elements of social justice education before. And I thought it really spoke to what we're doing here today. They are self-love and knowledge is the first step. And again, this is one suggestion for how to teach for social justice. Respect for others, social movements and social change, issues of social injustice, awareness raising, and social action. Self-love and knowledge, I hope, is something that we got to spend a little bit of time thinking about this morning, as well as respect for others. And we're going to talk a little bit, and well, of course, Dr. Urrieta started off in thinking about social movements and social change. We take these opportunities for students to first learn who they are and where they come from. A lot of our sessions today were about that. How can students themselves learn about who they are and where they come from? Validating their home languages by knowing mindfulness, restorative practices, drama, taking charge in the classroom. Respect for others was a big theme that was happening in a lot of our sessions today as well. I think also respect for ourselves as professionals and respect for others. So also reflecting on who we are as teachers. It's a big part of social justice education is our opportunity to reflect on our place in the socio-political context that Dr. Urrieta was talking about this morning. Issues of social justice. So we move then from celebrating for diversity to an exploration of how diversity has differently impacted various groups of people. So again, like we talked about this morning with Dr. Urrieta, we still know there are inequities that exist in the systems that are in place, and we are all a part of the system that continues to perpetuate them. And then this idea of social movements and social change. Teachers share examples of movements of iconic and everyday people standing together to address the issues of social injustice they learned about in Element 3. So this is kind of where it starts to come in. We are the Travis Early College High School vertical team. William B. Travis is a name that has a Confederate past, as well as the rebels. I've seen new t-shirts that I love that say Somos Rebels. We've seen some people wearing them today. They're from the Travis High School. Now, I think that if we're going to wear t-shirts like that and you're going to get a token that has a similar slogan on it, we need to think about the historical context of what we're talking about. And I found an article in the New York Times written by a Black historian from Gettysburg College, and he talks about who are the real rebels of the Civil War. There's a blog post on the Nuestras Escuelas blog also that you can read more, but I wanted to share a few quotes from that. He says that in the Civil War, words were often misused, connotations changed. Strictly speaking, it wasn't even a civil war, since the battle was not about who would control the entire United States, but whether part of the country could secede. So here he starts this idea that words were used in certain ways for certain people. and that over time they've continued to perpetuate over the years as we talk about history in our history books. And then he quotes Frederick Douglass, who declared this, I think it was in 1863. I really wish we had some other expressive title for the traitor and rebels who are now striking at the heart of the country which has nursed and brought them up. Rebels and traitors are epithets too good for such monsters of perfidy and ingratitude. That was Frederick Douglass. The Confederates took the word rebel and they flipped the script and they called themselves rebels. But as the author of this article says, the Confederate soldiers were fighting for a government that sought to maintain the ancient institution of slavery. They were preservationists, accommodationists, conformists. I'm sorry, there's a misspelling, conformists. Anything but genuine rebels. The real rebels were the hundreds of thousands of black men and women who led what was arguably the most successful slave uprising in world history. So here's where we come to awareness raising. If we're going to spend time raising awareness about the history, the context of our mascots, of our schools, of the words that we use, that's not where we can end. It's important to recognize that while raising awareness is a necessary and important precursor for action, it by and of itself does not translate into change. And so the last step in social action is my call to you for action today, is providing an opportunity for you to take action. You'll each be getting, as you go today, a Somos Rebels sticker. I don't hand that out lightly. We rally around our school, but it's not lost on me that it feels ironic that when we say we're advocating for equity, we're also using the word rebel, and we're using the word William B. Travis when we say that. But if the Confederates could flip the script, maybe we can too. And if we flip that script on the word rebels and we say that what we mean is that we are going to take the rebellious act today on January 7, 2020 to push back on deficit perspectives of historically marginalized populations by actively adopting an appreciative lens and sharing teaching practices that build on student strengths and celebrate their stories, that maybe we can continue to do this together. And so, as I said, it doesn't end here. There's more future professional development that we can engage in. These are just a few that are offered in the Blend course. There is a group called Educators in Solidarity out of UT that's having an unconference that's coming up. Heart of Texas Writing Project also does social justice work, and they have a few conferences coming up. Also, our applications for our Summer Institute will be due in February. The Heart of Texas, AISD Blended Learning Summit is connected to the work that we did today as well. And Ave's Adelante Conference. On April 3rd is the session for parents, and on April 4th is the session for teachers. And the last one that I want to talk about before you take the conference evaluation and you come out to get your takeaway is this idea that if we're going to take today and grow on it, we'll be starting a teacher inquiry group that could meet once a month during this semester. If there's something you were inspired by today, or if there's something that you know you want to try in your classroom that does this work of pushing back on deficit perspectives and adopts an additive perspective, then I encourage you to join our inquiry group. We'll meet monthly. It could be for PLED hours, for maybe an hour or two once a month online through a Google Hangout. Could be from home. We can decide on the times together to start thinking about how we might design a plan that we can implement in the fall. So if you're a teacher and you're thinking, I loved something I saw today, I'd like to keep thinking about that together with my Travis Vertical Team peers, then we could meet this semester, design a plan that's for the fall, and in January present. So you wouldn't have to present if you were part of the study group, but of course the idea would be that maybe we'll be more motivated if we know we have an audience waiting for us a year from now. But I invite you to take advantage of this Travis Vertical Team Inquiry Group this spring and then again in the fall so that we can continue this work of being rebels together and pushing against the grain and continuing to advocate for all of our students and teachers. Thank you so much. So your exit ticket. I know you've done some evaluations in your sessions, but this one is about the conference overall. And again, we really appreciate your feedback so we can design it based on your needs and wants. And so for the conference evaluation, please, you can also tell me if you're interested in presenting next year, and if you're interested in being a part of the vertical team inquiry group. Once you have completed your conference evaluation, there will be some lively staff and administrators there ready to give you your sticker before you head out, and I wish you luck in 2020.